Hi there, my name is Andrew Sandine. I would like to take a couple of minutes here to share how different factors associated with dairy reproductive management protocols can affect profitability. How profitable are these protocols when they're compared to each other? There is a lot of debate about what approaches work best for successful reproductive management on a dairy. There have been impressive improvements in reproductive success across the industry in recent years, but there are plenty of options and potential tweaks to fit an individual farm for continued improvement. Three significant factors affect the costs of a particular reproductive management protocol, and as a result, how desirable that option might be. The first factor is the number of treatments. These treatments might involve an injection, insertion or removal of a seeder, which is a progesterone-releasing device, or artificial insemination. It probably seems that the newer protocols tend to increase the number of treatments because they oftentimes do. While it is generally preferable to minimize the number of treatments, there are some protocols where the added treatments clearly improve success rates. Another factor is the cost of individual treatments. Each injection has a cost associated with it, and seeders, which are often a very helpful tool, are one of the more costly treatments used for reproductive management. The last factor we'll cover in this video is how many different days of the week are used for treatments. Since protocols are often initiated on a weekly basis, there are some timed artificial insemination protocols that only require treatments on 3 weekdays. Other protocol options might require treatments on 4 or 5 days of the week. This can be an issue for some managers having to account for labor time, as well as the hassle of catching cows and potentially losing some of the time when cows could be resting. Of course, there are also some less tangible costs that include things like personal preference and animal welfare priorities, but those aren't factored into some of the economic research that we will cover next. A research group at the University of Wisconsin conducted a study that compared conception rates, injections per year, and net profit gain. Highlighting 4 of the protocols in this video, we can start by looking at conception rates for first service. The first protocol was a standard pre-sync off-sync protocol with a baseline conception rate of 35%. It included 6 treatments on 3 different days of the week, with 11 days between the initial prostaglandin treatments and initiation of off-sync. There was no cherry picking of heats with this protocol. The second protocol was identical to the first one. The only difference is that a higher average conception rate of 45% was put into the simulation model. This is on the high end of what herds would typically see with this protocol. The foundation of the third protocol is the use of automated activity monitors to detect estrus and inseminate accordingly. Then a pre-sync off-sync timed AI protocol was used to ensure timely insemination for those cows which don't exhibit adequate signs of estrus. A conception rate average of 35% was used for this group. The last protocol is double off-sync, incorporating a second prostaglandin treatment towards the end of the protocol. In other research studies, this protocol has consistently resulted in one of the highest fertility success rates. Therefore, a conception rate of 50% was used for the input. This double off-sync protocol included 8 treatments on 5 different days of the week. Regular off-sync was used as a tool for cows needing multiple services. Including resynchronization, we can see the average number of injections per year per cow. As expected, the double off-sync protocol option was the highest, with an average of 9.2 injections, while the protocol that incorporates automated activity monitoring had the fewest, requiring 4.1 per year, which would be for the anestrus and resync cows. Here's the important data if profitability is what we are after. What they found after running these simulation models was that the double off-sync protocol option resulted in a $44.30 advantage when compared to the pre-sync off-sync protocol with a 35% conception rate. All of the other protocols they evaluated fell somewhere in between, including some protocols set up to allow for cherry picking of heats during pre-sync off-sync. Double off-sync even held the advantage when standard hormone treatment costs were quadrupled in the model. What do we take from this? It seems that if we opt to select reproductive protocols purely on an economic basis, management factors such as use of heat detection, days of the week for treatments, or even treatment costs are not as important as success in establishing pregnancies. In this study, the high conception rates offered by double OVSync helped improve profitability despite requiring more treatments and handling. The protocol might lack the convenience factor that makes some of the other options more appealing, but on most dairy farms, profitability is a critical goal.